But if you're going to play the game, you got to play the game. I wish there was more money to make in all this, and I understand why so many people bring out so many products so they can make more money in it. But it's a tough business. It's being a small business person isn't easy. It's a grind. It's tough, and you got to be able to continue pushing. And I'm not getting rich by any means, but it's a good time. It's opened a lot of doors. I made a lot of connections, and I'm very blessed to be able to call the friends friends and see and get to do the things I get to do.
Listen, learn, get inspired. I'm Tavis Bryant, and this is Barbecue Therapy. Like, subscribe, and follow to help grow the barbecue therapy community. Also, visit my website at www.barbecuetherapypodcast.com.
Bring 'em down, barbecue, your barbecue on. Get your barbecue on. Get your barbecue on.
Welcome to the Barbecue Therapy Podcast. My name is Tavis Bryant, and today's episode is about partnership. A kind is forged in fire, smoke, pressure, long nights, missed sleep, and early turn-ins. My guests are Josh JDQ DeWitt and Jeremy J-Dub Williams of Team JDQ BBQ, two Pitmasters, two personalities, one fire. Josh is also the founder of JDQ Seasonings, a competition-tested brand that's earned respect not just for flavor, but for consistency. This story isn't just a barbecue story. It's about trust, business, and building something together. Fellas, welcome to the Barbecue Therapy Podcast. I got one rule: make yourself at home. I have no sponsors yet, so speak freely.
Hey, thanks, brother. Appreciate you. Thanks for having us.
All right, no problem. All right, first question that I do is I always go back to growing up early in your lives, your childhood, teenage years, and you can weave the question between both of y'all. How did barbecue come into your lives, and what was the cooking scene back in your families and stuff?
For me, it was my dad. And I mean, my mom did most of the cooking inside the house, to say, but my dad would be the guy that would be out on the grill. And as I got older, he would venture off into ribs and into that kind of stuff. It never really was a lot of barbecue until I was older, but barbecue as a kid to me was like barbecue potato chips. And so until I got old enough to really realize where we were going with it, going to restaurants here in Kansas City, like Rosedale's or like the old school Gates or whatever the case was, knowing what that was, that's when my dad started doing cooking ribs and cooking those kind of things. But yeah, barbecue to me was the old school guys, barbecue chips, and that's really kind of where it was until I got old enough to kind of figure out what I was doing myself.
All right, how about you, Jeremy?
With me, honestly, my mom did a lot of cooking inside and baking, along with my grandma. A lot of things done in inside the home. I really didn't get into cooking myself and really liking that live fire game until I was going in late in my high school years, getting ready to go into college. And we would have hot dogs, hamburgers on the grill, have family get together kind of things. But more of the cooking that was done was baking and inside. I'm horrible at baking. My mom can bake. She can make a lot of candies and sweets and stuff like that. She did a lot of cooking and canning and all that stuff. I wasn't very good at that, and I would sit there and I'd watch her and I'd learn from her. But when I went to college, I started learning. I got a little grill for when I graduated high school, and I started just cooking. I put on my own burgers, put on my steaks, put on stuff like that, and I was like, this is cool. It's a different way of being outside, and it just kind of opened up a new world for me as I got older.
Okay. And for both of y'all, how did competition come onto the scene? How did y'all get introduced to that? Did y'all go to the event or somebody told you about it before y'all started cooking yourselves and joining a team together?
I think we're kind of blessed, to be real honest with you, with where we live and the heritage of the American Royal, and the American Royal being in our backyard and where we both live, and the history of that. I was introduced at a young age, from my dad having friends that cooked in it for fun. They weren't any good, but it was still hey, Friday night, we're going to go down to this barbecue thing. And I was introduced to it as a kid. And I remember every year as a youngster, even in my teenage years, going down to this thing, hanging out, eating barbecue, so on and so forth, hearing live music, and there just being a mass amount of people around there. And then as I got older, went to college and then, came back and being around certain people, I became friends with people. And, after college, I was introduced to a buddy of mine named Josh Hannes, who was a chef, and he loved to cook, but he wasn't a guy that really did anything grilling on the outdoors. And you actually met Josh. He was with us at the American Royal. He was one of the guys that was cooking with Jeremy and I. And at that point, when we moved in together and were roommates, I did the outdoor stuff. He did the indoor stuff. And that's kind of where my grilling kind of came up, because that's just what I like to do. And I ended up meeting another buddy that I worked with. His name was Matt Ireland. And that's really where this kind of really took off for me. He loved barbecue. He loved the competition side of it. His only deal was he'd only cook in 1 or 2 competitions a year, and he would only go cook the American Royal. And it's just like, for me as a competitor, I mean, you got to practice, and you got to go cook other stuff. And his practice was just cooking for his family and his friends out back, which is fine. But at the end of the day, what does that relate to? And, I did that with him for 2 or 3 years at the American Royal, and every year we get our butt kicked, and, we never get any calls, never get anything. And, it was still fun, but, I finally decided that I wanted to go do more. And so I started a team with a couple other guys, and we were going out and we were cooking 5 or 6, 7, 8 other competitions a year, practicing and doing other stuff, and started getting calls. And, that's where the rub kind of came into play. That's how I met Jeremy. Actually, I met Jeremy cooking with Matt at one of the American Royals, but went off and started doing my own thing after that. But yeah, man, to answer your question, that's kind of how it all got started for me.
All right. How about you, Jeremy?
Mine got started by taking a judging class, and we'd always just hang out and barbecue and have get-togethers, but took a judging class and then decided, hey, let's start judging. Judged a few competitions and then decided, hey, let's give this a whirl. First couple times we competed, it was a mess. We looked like we were homeless people sitting out there with trying to cook some meat. We were cooking in rain. We had a couple tents up. We had a bucket in between the easy ups catching water. We were shoved inside of this tent for the awards, and somehow pulled a 3rd place call in brisket, and it was horrible horrible brisket, but got a call, and then that's what hooked you. That's what got you going. And so I ran with Richard Fergola of Fergalicious for a long time, and we had fortunate luck of running for team points, competing all over the area, being on a couple TV shows, things like that. Then life got busy. The kids got older. I took some time off. We jumped into we were all kind of connected and working at a barbecue store in Kansas City. And Josh and I decided, hey, let's get back into things. Like, I missed it. I missed a little bit of the action. I missed a little bit of the grinds, and kind of wanted to go a different route of just kind of having some fun and enjoying what the game was. At the time, the game was just getting too busy, too much going on, and trying to still balance life and balance everything else. So jump back in it. And then Josh and I just been kind of rolling here the last few years, just knocking out some events, having some fun, promoting his brand, and getting out on the comp trail whenever we can, and going to different events. So
okay, Josh just disappeared. I can hear you.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Sound says you're there, but you just pulled one of those things like they do on TV.
Internet is fantastic. There you
go. Yep. Now that he's gone, we can have a real good conversation. Yeah. Hey, this is like competition barbecue right here. You never know what's going to happen. You never know if it's going to rain, your generator isn't going to work, or it's going to turn off right before chicken turn in, or
exactly.
You could be one of the greatest cooks in the world and oversleep an hour, and then have to drive 25
I read that
minutes
this morning
to the comp
too.
and still GC. But
he didn't GC. He took second. He took second.
Ways ago. But stuff like that happens. You never know. You can have timers set up. You can have all kinds of stuff going on. It rains.
Dealing with technology, so you never know how it goes.
Absolutely. Welcome back.
It's the magic of editing, boy. Some of them episodes you couldn't even tell. But this is cool.
Yes, he's back.
All right. I don't even remember where we was at, but that's the fun of it. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, what do you think that hooked y'all to competition barbecue when y'all first came across it, that lured y'all in?
I would say it's 2 things. I would say the camaraderie and the friendships that you make, the people, kind of like what you and I were talking about before we came on. It's just, it's so easy to talk to people. And the people that just let you in. It's the stories like what we were kind of talking about earlier, like with you and Tim Shearer, and it's just I've had a lot of those same stories with just different guys in the industry that have me coming up and getting started, and guys telling me not to get frustrated. Like my very first comp I ever cooked, I literally cooked next to Greg Hasty, which is American Fire, across from Hunka Burn and Rub. Rod Gray was caddy corner to me. I mean, there were hitters all the way around me, and it was one of the scariest things in the world. And in the beginning, I didn't really even know who they were until all of a sudden I looked them up and I saw the rigs and everything else. I was like, oh boy, I'm in trouble. And that day, or the next day, actually, I mean, I took dead ass last in my first comp, and Greg Hasty next to me, he won. And I remember coming out of the thing, he looked at me and he goes, hey, Josh, come here, man. He goes, bring some of your food over here. And I said, okay. So I walked over there, and Rod had walked over there, and they tried the food and stuff. They both looked at me and they're like, man, dude, your food's really good, Josh. And I try and I go, well, thanks, man. I go, obviously
Yeah, definitely. I'm a judge for GBA, and it's helped to see what other people are doing. And what I tell people, everybody swear they the best barbecue cook in the world. And I tell people, you think yours the best in the world, but until you taste somebody that can really grill, you have no idea. Because a lot of people, I mean, no offense to it, everybody think Bucky's has the best brisket in the world, and I'm like, dude, you have no idea what brisket tastes like. and
Yeah, exactly.
exactly. So, Jeremy, that means you was on Pitmasters with Fergalicious. Were you on Pitmasters with him?
Yeah, in 2014, we were lucky enough to be chosen to be on Barbecue Pitmasters, representing Kansas City. So that was a fun experience. It was us and the Pierce brothers, Joe and Mike from Slaps, and then Mike Johnson from Sugar Fire. And so that was an awesome experience for Richard and I to be able to be a part of, as being young and getting into the game. Mostly being young, but being new to the game. And then early on in our barbecue lives, careers, we were able to jump into that. And that kind of springboarded a few opportunities and a few things from there, and started with some rubs and all that. And so, yeah, it was pretty fun experience along with that. And then was able to be on Chop later on by myself and representing Kansas City again with that. So that experience was a fun one too.
Oh, wow. Was it a barbecue or was it a cooking show? Was it a barbecue Chop episode?
Yeah, it was Chop. It was a Grill Masters kind of thing, and they had Kansas City versus Memphis versus Carolinas versus the Texans, different regions, and the winner of our round moved on to go head to head against them in the end. So the winners of each region came together for a finale. So it was fun. I mean, it's crazy. It's not set up for barbecue dudes. You know, we're slow and low a lot of times, hot and fast, but hot and fast still needs a couple hours to do things, and then they give it to you. It's real time action, and having 20 minutes to take a double stuffed or a double cut pork chop, a whoopie pie, nettles, and pre-cooked burnt ends, and turn it into a culinary item that's going to appease the judges. It's challenging. I had a good time. We had it was fun. I nicked my hands. I went to push my knife away, and I cut my finger, cut my hand a little bit, just tiny bit, but it was bleeding. And that was the real first time I looked up, and I was like, holy crud, where am I at? Because you kind of get lost in the zone. And the workspaces are very small, very tiny. There wasn't a whole lot going on there, but it was cool. I was in the studio, so I wasn't in outside cooking on grills like some of the other shows prior were. So it was a little bit of a challenge with that, but cool experience anyway.
Okay, you famous then. You're on a few TV shows.
No, not at all, man. I'm just a teacher.
I got a 3-second cameo on Barbecue USA season 2 episode 10. Like I was telling you, I go to Memphis in May. I was with Blues Hogs sitting on the outside while they were doing their judge presentation. I was sitting there with my wife. I was like, what if I'm on TV? And then it flipped out, it zoomed out, and I was like, oh, there I go.
Never know, man. That's why you can't be picking your nose or anything.
Exactly. All right. So when y'all came across each other, what was y'all impression of each other to make y'all want to join together and start cooking together? Did y'all know each other before then? Or?
I didn't like this guy one bit. I didn't like him one bit. I thought he was a medieval gnome or troll that came crawling out. Actually, didn't even have a beard. Looked completely different. I've completely transformed him into an old bearded man.
Must have been a while ago. How long y'all been together?
It's been a while. But the first time I did meet him, these knuckleheads are behind us at the American Royal. The American Royal was at Arrowhead that year, and it's Richard and I and Sugar Fire. So we had a circus going on over in our area. Right behind us was these guys, and they were setting up for this barbecue bash, and there was orange. You would love it. There was orange everywhere. Whatever company that Matt worked for was sponsoring a bunch of orange, and they're like, "Yeah, we're throwing a party. We're cooking," and that was their goal. That was their mentality. They're cooking and throwing this party on Friday night. We're like, cool. Look over there, and we see these guys, and they're hanging in hammocks. They had these poles up. I'm like, what in the world? Did they sleep outside? And it was cold. It was cold that weekend. Met them, and they kept falling out of hammocks and that they had put up and stuff. And Josh kind of came over and was pretty chill. Josh could talk to a tree, anybody. He came over, he's social, and chatted for a little bit, and had London. First time got to meet London, and so kind of just went from there. He was cool. We had a good time. Created a connection, a relationship, and Richard and I did a class, and Josh came to it from there, and then really kind of connected the most when we both started working at the barbecue store. That kind of connected it from there, and moved on from where we're at now. Yeah, you've been frozen for a long time, dude. You've been frozen.
Yeah, me and
yeah. See, the Missouri side has a hard time with Kansas City. This Kansas side of Kansas City, we have good internet.
It's gonna be an adventure trying to edit this one.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of how things went with us.
There you go. You're moving again.
Yeah. All right. Be moving. There you go.
Hey, and then my speed's up. I'm up. My Google Fiber is killing it right now. So I don't know what's going on.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. Y'all doing me a favor. I'll figure it out on the backside. All right.
I just sat here and kept talking. That's all good.
All right. And back to where I was. Let's see. Y'all meeting? All right. So what made y'all trust each other enough to put y'all names together and say, hey, let's do this? Or who asked who?
It was kind of one of those deals where we were at the shop, and I was kind of over the situation that I was in cooking, and I knew he was already done with where he was at, and he had the bug because he kind of came out the year previous, and we had him actually come out and help us, and that was just one of those deals where it was right time, right place, I think. And, him and I talked and said, hey, man, you want to do this? And it was just like, yeah. And we just kind of clicked. And, we each have our niche. We each have our little quirks from the beginning that we've worked through. And, we still do. It's just like any team. Mm-hmm. No matter if it's 2 people or 11 people, you have to know how to read who you're working with, how to set them up, how to make it work successful. Jeremy is a planner. Jeremy does so much to make us work. And that's who he is. I'm a social guy. I get us out there. I get us sponsors. I help get us into the places that typically maybe we wouldn't be going to. I help find funding to say. I think the two of us really work well together in that kind of atmosphere. I kind of help. He kind of leads me in the direction sometimes of like, hey, have you thought about this? And I'm like, oh, dude, I hadn't even thought about that. Good idea. And I'll run that direction. I'll call him back and be like, hey, I just got us this and that. And he's like, awesome. And then I'll hit him up saying, hey, how much leftovers do we have down in there in the freezer that we didn't use? Okay, well, hey, think we can cook this and sell that, make some money? Well, absolutely. I'll fire up the grills tomorrow. And it's just one of those things that we balance each other off for what it is. And it's worked out. We've created a great friendship for what it is, and he loves my family. I love his family. Our kids are cool. And it's great, dude. It's really worked out well. And we know our boundaries at the same token. I know where I need to walk away from him, and he knows when he needs to walk away from me, and he also knows how to reel me back in, and I know how to reel him back in. So, it works itself out.
That's exactly good.
Absolutely. He's kind of the front of the house, I'm kind of the back of the house. We get things going, and it's improving as we go. The more reps you have, like anything. But yeah, it's working out pretty good.
Okay, so when it comes to a competition and the cooking the meats, how do y'all break those down? Y'all both weave in and out, or y'all doing it together as far as cooking the meats, or?
It's funny. I have two, he has two, but really at the end of the day, we really help each other with everything. He takes chicken and brisket, and I do pork and ribs, but we both help each other with everything that we do. He preps chicken, he preps brisket, I prep pork and prep ribs. But as we're cooking and we're doing things and setting up boxes and doing all the things we do, we all have our hands on everything. We're all tasting everything. We're doing all the different things that make it go into the box. We know each other in the different sounds that each other makes when we taste something, or a side eye, or whatever the case might be, that something might be wrong, something might be right. Yeah, no, I mean, yes, we have each two, but I think we both work on all four together.
Yeah, it's not necessarily cooking the meats, but having that extra person that's there. So I'll pull a chicken thigh off. Josh doesn't do any of that up front, the during, but he's the taster. He's the tester. He's the guy I'm going to hand it to. And I want that juice to drizzle down his beard and all that. I want him to bite into it and it go squirting, or him go, it needs a little more heat, or did you do something different? There's been times he's like, this tastes different than last week, or he's like, yep, tastes like our chicken. Same thing with me. He's going to be slicing those ribs. I stay completely out of his way during ribs. He'll hand me one. I'll take a bite. Yep, tastes good. He'll say, try this, and I'll say, well, this one was more tender than the first rib, kind of thing, just to kind of help him make those decisions. Pork, we're bouncing off each other. He cooks it. I'll help trim out on the front side. We trim out those money muscles and things. I do the money muscles. I'll slice those up. I'll let them know if we're in the game. I'll let them know if we're there. Sometimes it's hit and miss. Sometimes there's fat lines through the middle. Sometimes they start to break. Sometimes they're mushy and a little bit overdone. Or I'll be like, hey, dude, we're good. We're going single row. We're going double row today. He knows what he's doing. He knows where he's going. He knows where his vision and his path is. He's breaking down the pork butt. I know where I'm going with what I'm doing. And then we come back together and be like, all right, here's where we're going. And if we have the ability to do something a little bit different when it comes to our boxing, we will, but we're going boom and boom. Brisket wise, same thing. He kind of gets out of my way. I'm doing it. I'll hand him a slice. He'll let me know, yeah, this is there, this is not there, kind of thing. Needs a little this, needs a little that. So having that consistent person that knows your profiles and knows what it should taste like and what you want it to taste like and what your goal is and what you want the tenderness to be, is more valuable than somebody that knows how to run a pit or knows how to, adjust the temperatures. If I could train you real quick to come and sit and look at a temperature gauge and say, hey, in 20 minutes, turn this and do all that. But I need you as a partner or somebody that can go, yes, taste this is, it's tight, it's loose, it's too hot, too salty, whatever else I think is more important as a teammate. And I feel like we bounce at it back and forth between each other. And we can be honest. Like there's times you can be like, dude, that brisket you last week was better than this one, or yeah, it just needs a little bit. And I've just been a couple times I've been like, hey, did you taste a little hotter today? Did you change up a little something? He's like, no, I didn't. So we're okay to say, hey, this is a little different, or something needs to be tweaked. And that's what we both need, because that's what we're taking it out to other people. And you got to be honest with each other, because it's not like my meats versus his meats. We're there together. We need all four. We need it all to roll. And so that's the value of a teammate when it comes down to that side of things, when it's doing the different meats.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. Because y'all, I mean, regardless if your two meats win or his two meats in, it's still JDQ BBQ, and it ain't
absolutely.
You come up and you stay down there, or vice versa. But I love it because y'all are interchangeable, and if, like I say, in the middle of a contest, somebody had a family emergency, you can keep right on going, and not say, okay, what does he do this time, or I don't know what to do. But y'all are interchangeable, so y'all can know what each other do, and not, if something happens, you can just fill in and not be feeling lost and don't know what to do. So I say you got to know that other person. That's why I say a lot of the people like the husband and wife teams and stuff like that. That's why they so successful, because they know the partner so well, as far as them when they get it, like you said, when you get upset, you know, you can tell when somebody upset. If your spouse is there, you're gonna know when they're upset. But if you're in there with somebody you don't know that well, they could be sitting there fuming and you don't even know it, and you just going about your business. And that's why I say you got to know somebody very well in order to make that commitment to be a team, because you trust in money and trophies
Oh, yeah.
in somebody else's hand. And if they get an attitude or something like that and blow a competition just because they got an attitude, or you need to reel them back in and get their head back in the game, you'll be able to notice, okay, something ain't right with him. Hey, what's going on? And or if you need to tell them, move out the way, I got it. You go ahead and cool off, like you said.
Yeah, there's been many times it's been like, Josh came up, you good? Yeah, I'm good. You good? All right, now let's go. Because there's those moments. It's time, it's money, it's lack of sleep, it's those things. And you've seen the inside of the trailer and stuff. We call it a dance, and there's only so much room. There's only so much space. You're coming, you're going, you're in and out. And the American Royal, when we connected with you there, it's a different beast. There's a lot more going on, a lot more things, a lot more stuff. But you got to have a little bit of a dance. And even in our program, like you said, knowing each other and knowing those little nuances and tendencies and things that we need. Like I know he needs a tray, foil, a half pan, an electric knife. He needs a cup, and he needs a sauce when he's getting ready to do ribs. So those are things that are ready to go. I go do chicken. I come back. He's got everything panned, cleaned up. Boom. He goes. We get ready. We have that going. He does ribs. Ribs gets turned in. I'm pulling everything away. I'm getting our cutting stations out. I'm getting our things ready to go. And even when we're moving, we call it a dance. And sometimes it gets we have two left feet, and sometimes both of us are leading, but more than likely we're flowing. And usually it takes a comp or two to get back in the groove of things. But there's been times we've had looked at each other like, knock on wood, this was a pretty clean cook here, buddy. Things went all right. Why didn't have too many issues? Felt like it was a good cook, and then the judges go, psh, psh.
Well,
We don't like your food.
it was like the Royal this year. I mean, we had a great cook, and we sat on our hands. I mean, it was scary because but that's the Royal. You're 420 some odd teams or whatever it was this year, and we only heard our name once. And I mean, Jeremy's chicken was phenomenal. I mean, even though we were scared to death and we were wound up all the way till the end of it, but all of our food was great that day. But that's how it was all year long. And I think that's the crazy part about competition barbecue that guys get so caught up on, that you can cook phenomenal food, but it's there's so much luck to this. I mean, good barbecue does rise to the top, and I understand that. But to win a contest, to be top 5, I mean, you really.
You froze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, no, what I was saying is like you gotta have some luck. I mean, that's part of this whole process. I mean, it's like going to the casino. It's just it's a different way of gambling. It's there's a lot of us out there that like sports books and betting on games and doing that kind of stuff. But I mean, here we are betting on ourselves.
This is wild. This is the first time.
Yeah, for us too. It's kind of unique. It's a different platform. First time we've ever done this platform before.
Have you ever had 2 people on at once?
Yeah, I've had I had a couple of people that have been multiple people, but it never been. I think I had one other episode where it was 4 people, but one person dropped off 2 times, but that was at the most that it dropped off.
This is crazy. I apologize if it's from my side, man. I'm not doing anything. I ain't taking anything. But
now you're live. Let's get to the next question.
Yeah.
He's gonna edit this. This thing will be out next year by the time he gets done editing.
Well,
Bo Nix is gonna be like in his 10th year.
Exactly.
Woo.
It's cool. So have y'all along the journey, I guess, coming into barbecue, have y'all took any classes or just figured it out as you went along?
Yeah, I've taken classes. I've taken a handful of them. I've taken Fergalicious classes, and luckily, I've been a part of a lot of classes that came to Casey Grilling Company when we had guys in there. I mean, Richard taught a ton of classes that Jeremy worked with, that I worked with. Being a part of that side of it, you learn so much because you're standing in front of people, teaching people, and you're hearing the answers and hearing the questions from both sides of where it kind of comes from. And took Travis Duffy's after Duffy won his, but just being around a lot of different people. I mean, I'm blessed that I have a lot of guys that use my rubs and that I sponsor. And so I've been able to ask a lot of unique questions to a lot of those guys that use my products too. And getting in with, gosh, there's tons of good dudes. Brian Dwyer to the who else is out? I mean, there's tons of guys squealing and dealing. Ryan Kane, Joel from Meet Rushmore. I mean, Weeze, all these guys, whenever anything is going south, Justin West, I mean, guys that have won world championships, using the products itself, it's like, what are you doing? So, I mean, it's great to be able to bounce some of these things off of them when things aren't going your way. And I can call Jeremy and be like, hey, check this out. I just heard this. You ever seen anything like this? You ever heard anything like this? And, and we might check some of them out. We might run some of them, and some of them work for us and some of them don't work for us.
Yeah. I think Josh hit on it. I've taught more classes than I've attended classes. We were fortunate enough to kind of have a one-on-one private lesson years ago with one of the greatest teams that was out on the circuit. They've stepped away since then, but they were actually the first team that we ever beat to GC, which was awesome. But just to get some of those little notes on what to do and some little tips. But Josh hit it on the head. It's all about relationships. It's all about connections, and it's all about having those conversations and being okay. If you're not a jerk, other people are going to be okay to be around you. And I mean, right now if somebody asks, what do you use for your chicken sauce? Here you go. Here's the recipe. What are you going to use for this? Here you go. Josh went over to Australia, talked to his Australian dudes, and they were asking some questions about this. And he goes, hey, would you be willing to give them some pointers? I sent them a PDF of the whole thing that we do. Here's what we do. You want it? Go do it. I can give you a recipe book and say, here you go. Here's all the recipes and tips and notes, but you still have to execute what's going on. And just the connections with people and the things that you do and those relationships you build are great. He brought up Ryan King. Next to Ryan King, he goes, hey, come here. You'll like this. Look at this. And I was like, whoa, that's cool. And it was just a liner that goes inside. He goes, I know how you like to be organized. I know how you like to do these things. It was a pan liner that goes inside of pan. He learned from somebody else's class that he took. So the way people pass those things down, if I say, nope, I spent $1,000 on this class and I'm not telling you anything about it, you can do that. People are going to do that. But others are cool with like, hey, look at this little tip I got. Look at this little trick I got. And that's what a lot of barbecue is about, is having those connections, having those chats, and listening. Shutting up and listening sometimes is a big thing when you're around those that know. And a lot of times you're sitting around a fire, sitting around having a couple cold beverages, or just standing, doing a lot of standing there. Just listen. Shut up and listen, and you'll learn a lot.
Probably more than you need to.
That is definitely true. Like I've taken 5 classes. Like I told you, I usually go to, because most of the people that I've been to, most of their routines are the same, but it's just going to also meet people and make connections, and then they'll introduce you to more people and more people as you go along. And it's just the camaraderie and people that have the same interests as you do, as well as learning from a world champion, as well as supporting the world champion. Because it doesn't hurt to go support, like y'all have class, or other people. I can get the recipes, but just going to meet y'all and support what y'all doing to show that, hey, I appreciate y'all just even attempting to show us what y'all do. Because I mean, when I first started, it was hard to come by. Just during COVID, when I discovered barbecue, I didn't know where to start at from the jump. So I was like, it took me a while to figure out what was what. And like I said, I was talking to somebody yesterday that when I started, all I heard was Myra Mixon. But then all of a sudden I heard the Darren Worth. I'm like, who is that? And then I started learning and learning and immersing myself more and more into the barbecue world. I'm like, stuff on the outside is not actually what it seems, as folks on the inside know, as far as the people in barbecue, because TV will give you the narrative of one thing, but it's not exactly what it is. But I gotta tell anybody, just taking a class just to go out there and a camaraderie or go walk a competition and just say hello. Don't just walk by. You see somebody, they make eye contact, hi, how you doing, and stuff like that. And you never know, I mean, where it take you if you have that interest. I mean, if you got the money to take a class, you don't have the money to take a class, go walk around the comp.
Right. Well, we're gonna we have a we're getting ready to have a class coming up, and we asked a friend that would help run the pits for us.
Hmm.
And same thing with what Josh talked about with Duffy's class, running the pits, just saying, hey, what do you need? Because person's up front, there's a lot of things going on the backside, on the back end of what's going on. And most guys who do these, do big classes are having somebody else on the back run their pits just to make sure they're keeping their times, keeping things going as much as possible. But even just volunteering, asking, hey, you need help. What do you need? There's 3 or 4 events that we're doing that are on our schedule, and Josh is doing majority of them. But when you look at it, they're volunteer. They're going and helping others, going and interacting and being a part of. Yes, it's great to have out there, like you said, meet, connect. And so, like when Houston Livestock Rodeo, he's getting ready to go to, and Windy City Smokeout, he's getting ready to go to. I haven't had a chance to get to those. I want to one of these days, but he goes. When his son's in town, he's able to take his son, and it takes his wife and his family, and they've grown to this almost family trips with that. But it's a volunteer. He's not getting paid for it. He's spending money to go to do these things, but he's saying, hey, I'm here. What do you want? What can I do for you? Every year when we go to Royal Oak, we've been helping. We're helpers. We're part of, they said we're staff now. And because of what we do, we're not competing as competitors, because the Royal Oak team the family of Royal Oak is phenomenal, and the teams they have are just elite.
Just hitters.
We're not on their levels. Maybe one of these days we'll get lucky enough and get it. But till then, we're just proud to be a part of that team and come in, and we pay our flights there. They give us a hotel room, but we're part of that to volunteer and say, hey, we're here. We're going to work our butts off. We'll do what we can for you. So, like you said, walking around, building relationships, connections, talking, asking questions. A lot of people are going to be open books. Other people are going to shut the door in your face. But that's just like any other brand or business.
You learn a lot about those brands and businesses for what they do and what they don't.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I was like, I don't mind asking, helping, and stuff like that. And it's like, if you ask, I mean, you never know what they're gonna say. All you gotta do is ask. It's either yes or no. And I mean, it's 50-50 chance. Like when I got a media pass for America Raw, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna get it, but let me just try it anyway. And I wind up getting it. I was like, oh wow, I was surprised. But like I said, most of these things, all it takes about just stepping out there and taking a chance, and just you never know what the answer is going to be. But if you don't try, you already know what the answer is. It's an automatic no. But you never know what you're going to get until you step out there. And like I said, I mean, just speaking to people, being nice. Like this year, where Tim Shear, they had the NASCAR thing here in Atlanta. I said, hey, I live in Atlanta, so is it all right if I come out there and help y'all out or whatever y'all do out there? So 6 hours, I'm helping them hand out sauce and cut sausage and steak and hand it out to the crowd and stuff, because I wanted the experience to see what it was or how they act or how they represent their brand, and just mingle with them and see how the atmosphere of NASCAR and what they do in their brand is like. I know most people wouldn't do that because it was hot and it was long period of time, but I did it because I enjoy barbecue and I enjoy learning from those that have been successful at what they're doing. And he's one of those people that have been successful. I mean, you see him, he's laid back and all that, but I mean, he wouldn't have got to where he's at if he's not about his business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So back to the questions. What was the highest high y'all experienced together so far? It could be competition win, or it could be something outside of barbecue that y'all done, or catering, or anything like that. What's the highest high y'all experienced so far?
Dude, we had 3 pretty big ones this year. I don't know, getting our first GC this year, our first RGC this year, and then 13th overall at the Royal was pretty big. Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of good stuff. I mean, a lot of wins, but I mean, I don't think anything's bigger than those 3 from what we had this past season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Am I wrong, Jay?
I think you got to throw in your best rub on the planet. Was pretty darn cool. That was something fun to be able to be there with you and have that process going through. But yeah, those wins, those fun wins, being able to pull a GC and an RGC this year was fun. I think another one was being able to go on a couple trips. We went out to Seattle and got to experience that cook. So those would be a few of my top ones there. I think that having those experiences, and then just the fact that Josh kind of mentioned it earlier, some of the doors that have been opened up and going, yeah, we'll do that, or no. And I think, we're getting ready to possibly have an opportunity for that. Well, not possibly, but we are going to have an opportunity to that coming up here for May, because we're going to compete at Memphis in May coming up. And I think that's going to be a high of highs. It's something I've experienced once before, but I think that'll be just a new journey. And then if that name gets called, watch out. Those are those individual ones. And we've almost had more, to tell you the truth, we've had a few more highs, like this year for one of our buddies that won brisket at the American Roll. Just, I've seen Josh and he's probably seen me too. We've gotten more hyped for some of our buddies that have won big awards and won big comps. And so you got to throw those in there too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely true, because you couldn't tell me nothing. I was in the trailer with Luke and he won. I'm telling everybody.
That was you. You did something. You got to come back next year now.
Oh, I'll definitely be back. You got to worry about that. But I'll be prepared because it was cold.
Yeah. They need to move it. They need to move it up. Put it back in September.
Yeah, I wish. All right. And let's talk about sponsors for a minute. Okay, when I see y'all have quite a bit of few sponsors like Royal Oak. I seen y'all had Smoking Brothers. When it comes to sponsors, what's the real trade-off? Do sponsors approach you first, or do you have to earn those conversations as far as sponsorship?
I think it's both way. I mean, the bigger namesakes that are out there, you definitely have to earn your name right to them to prove who you are. But I mean, it's always a conversation. If you don't ask, you're never going to know. And I think that comes from me being in sales. I've heard more no's in my life than I've heard yeses. And because come Smoking Brothers and Gateway Drums, I happen to work for them. And so that it works pretty easy that we can use those products as we're going out there. As for Royal Oak, we've been very blessed. I think this is going on our 6th year, Jeremy?
Us, yeah. I've been a part of the Royal Oak family since 2015, 16, something along that line, maybe earlier. So yeah, us together, it's been about 6 or 7 years.
Yeah. And then, the other ones, Heath Riles is one of our sponsors, and we'll see if we're lucky enough to get back on with him this year. But I mean, it's just proving our name right. It's out there working, putting content out there, making their brands look good, making sure, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. But it's a win-win for everybody when it's done right.
Yeah, Josh does a really good job of gathering those things together, talking to people, making those connections. Like I said, once again, it goes back to original talk earlier, was making relationships, building relationships, having good conversations, and not just being a jerk. And a lot of that will take you pretty far. And we have a couple sponsors that are very beneficial to us, and they have nothing to do with barbecue.
I was about to bring that up. Yeah.
Nothing to do with barbecue. And it kind of goes back to some of his prior, talking about relationships again, Josh's prior job when it comes down to being in the construction world and painting and things like that. You get to talking to people like, oh, you do this, oh, you do that. Oh, I want to be a part. How can we help you out? Well, here. They're like, sure, we need to do some things here. We'll do this with you and we'll help you out. And what's it going to look like? Here's what we can do, and go from there. And so those are big time. We talked about roll up once before. You asked, hey, what do you have to do? And just put it out there like, hey, I'd love to be a part of your team, see what you guys do, blah, blah, blah. And the first time we got a response back, and I say we, and that was when I was with Fergalicious, they said, not this year. You're not good enough yet. In a nice way. They pretty much said, you haven't done enough yet. You're not good enough. And it was like, all right, check. We'll see you next year. We'll show you, kind of thing. And then just kind of give you a path to keep going, and then apply the following year or whatever. And then eventually, it might work out for you. So those are one of the things where, like Josh talked about, you get a lot of no's, get that no, turn it into a positive, and then keep grinding away and build connections and relationships.
Yeah, I mean, and as you keep going, people start contacting you. I mean, we've been lucky enough this year. VacMaster reached out to us, which is huge. I mean, I'm loving it, and and it's a great relationship. And they just hit me up this past week. It's those type of things as you continue to show what your brand is and who you are, and what you're putting out there. These other big brands want to be a part of what you're doing. They see what you're doing, and you just got to keep pushing it forward and keep doing positive things, and people will work with you.
Okay. Appreciate it. That was my next question. Because I'm just right now, that's why I haven't reached out to nobody. I'm trying to grind and show people what I have to offer and stuff like that before I put myself out there. But like I said, I'm definitely trying to be in the mix as far as being places and people being familiar with me and stuff like that, while I continue to build the podcast and the people that listen to the podcast. So, like I said, I'm paying my dues and seeing where it take me. I was like, I didn't know I was going to get this far into it, but since I'm into it, I told my wife I'm going to see where it goes, and you never know. You never know, because there's a first for everything. So
you just won an award with the NBBQA, didn't you?
Yeah, I was top 5, so hopefully I'll win.
Dude, that's awesome. That's all I do. For whatever reason, I missed the cutoff on that thing every single year to get my product in there. I set a calendar reminder this year, and I will be in it next year.
But yeah, that's a surprise. I was like, okay, let's do it. So hopefully that works out. I mean, I have no less than top 5, so I get a certificate for something, and I got my ticket to go out there, and I'm gonna attend the conference and see what I can learn. I mean, I like I tell people, you do your part, and then the other people let people do their part. Because if they come to you and you're not prepared for the opportunity, that's your own fault. Is you lost out because you didn't do your homework. That's why I tell folks, I do my homework, learn about people and stuff like that. So when I meet them, I can say, hey, you're so and so and so and so, and they'll be surprised, like, oh, he knows me real well. And as well as doing the interviews, I do my research and stuff. And if I say something that most folks don't realize or know, and they be like, wow, how did you find that out? Because I do my homework. I go through everything to find out more information, because I try to make the interview more personable and try to present them in the best light possible. And because each person has a unique story, and I don't want to gloss over it. So with basic questions, like, I'm not down in other podcasts, but just basic questions, and not asking follow-up questions, and not taking the interest of the people that's coming on your show and just asking the same generic questions and not deep diving the information. Like, I wanted to know Paul and Lynn. Paul used to fish, competition fish. So I'm curious about that. I'm like, well, ain't nobody asked them more detail into that, because Saturday morning I used to see it on ESPN, so I asked them about that, and
If I could be a professional
surprised
athlete, it'd be a fisherman.
I never knew that till right now. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to ask him next time. I said, like, I never knew that.
Yeah,
That's
he was
awesome.
a professional fisherman before he came into competition. Yeah, I was like, that's amazing. Or how George how he got to owning the car dealership. I mean, like, that's interesting to me because you look at the people, all you see is greasy shirts with our logos on it, but you don't know what people do in the 9 to 5.
Absolutely.
Some of these people out here doing big things, IT and all this other stuff, and I mean, it's good to know people all the way around and have an interest in them and their families and what else they have an interest in. So that's why I try to take an interest and learn what I can to show that I take this serious. I don't play around when it comes to this because barbecue is important, the community is important, and I want to represent y'all the best I can, as well as I know y'all want to represent the best y'all can. So
Yep, that's right.
that's
man.
why I
Yep,
just keep
appreciate it.
going. All right, let's switch over to the seasoning side. When you came up with your seasoning, what problem were you trying to solve when you came up with your seasoning?
I don't know if it was a problem I was trying to solve. It was just when we first were getting into it. I mean, this takes me back to like the Matt Ireland days when I was cooking with him and all of us trying to figure different recipes out and different stuff. And, you know, unfortunately, he had passed away, and there was a seasoning that had been made but never really was well put together. And was a part of all of that, and I had taken some of those things and kind of had worked with it and kind of in my own kitchen put the stuff together and started letting guys try it. You know, I was using it and it started getting calls and started working. And from there, it just kind of went. And, you know, we just ran with it. And to the point that, you know, I ended up having to find a co-packer, and I found Tastemaker, and went from having one to having three, getting ready to have four, possibly five. Yeah, no, it's done its thing. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, and can you go over each one and tell a little bit about each one of your seasonings?
Sure. So the sweet, I thought Jeremy's going to have them lined up there. There you go. The OG, that's the OG for the original. And it's funny because I tell people, it was like, why'd you put the font, the OG, like in like the old English, like the old thing? And I was like, because I love 90s hip hop. And that was like my deal. That's why I did what I did. And that's why I called it the OG, because it's the original. And you know, it's sweet, it's pecan, and it's very flavor forward. It's what reminds me of my dad and what I grew up on in barbecue. And that was barbecue to me in Kansas City growing up, is that guy's potato chip, barbecue flavored, him drinking a Rocky Top Cola, which was an imitation Coca-Cola that you would get at Dillon's. You know, just one of these things when I was little, that's just what I remember. And, you know, from there was a spicy version made, and it's made with cayenne pepper. And there's so much that's been added to the original, the OG. And that's what won me the best rub on the planet. And actually, I've been top 5 the past 5 years with that. So, I mean, it hits. And I think I did it an injustice in calling it spicy. I think I should have called it sweet heat. There's too many people out there that are scared of the word spicy. I think it would have done better on the shelf, or would still be doing better on the shelf because it sells well. But I think it would sell better if the spicy word would have stayed off of it. My mom thinks ketchup is too hot. So when you think of people with the taste buds like that, they see spicy, oh, not touching that, you know, when it's really not that hot. It just has this kick. I tell people all the time, I'm a fat kid that likes to eat. I'm not going to make something that I can't eat. You know, Mike Starr from Blazing Star, good friend of ours, he's helped me out a ton. He has specific rubs for specific peppers. Like, you want a Reaper rub? Go buy Mike's rub. You want a ghost pepper rub? Go buy Mike's rub. That will blow your mouth up if that's what you're looking for on a chicken wing. And I've had it, and it's good. I can't eat more than 1 or 2, but if that's what you're going for, that's what you need. And he sells an absolute ton of it, and it's amazing what he does for business. But mine was more from a competition side. There was a rub that was made here in Kansas City that's been used for years and years and years, and it's really good. But there was an aftertaste to it that it would always get me, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And that was one of the reasons why I started playing with different peppers with my original and my sweet, and that's where the spicy came up with. Um, as for the sweet garlic's a crazy story. I have a son. His name's London. He's 15 going on 27. He lives in Los Angeles with his mom. Yeah. We were dealing with some family stuff in his younger ages. And so I spent a lot of time out on the West Coast dealing with some court stuff. And they just didn't season stuff very well. And you eat a lot of seafood out there. And obviously I had my sweet stuff out there. But I started playing with a lot of garlics. And there's a lot of different type of garlics out there, from black garlics to different grades of garlics. And that's really me mixing these things together. That's where this sweet garlic kind of came from. And last year at Christmas is when I finally released that. And really the only reason why I did is because of my son. Because I used to just make it around the house, and I used to just kind of give it to, because I never meant for it to be a competition rub. It was something that was just, it was good. We used it on seafood. We used it. I mean, London used it in ramen. I mean, he puts it on everything. But he's like, Dad, will you bring it out? It'll work. And I'm just like, whatever, we'll see. And so I brought it out right at the Christmas time last year and called my 10 best dealers that were out there and said, hey, I got a Christmas present for you. And they're like, what are you talking about? And it was about 15 days before Christmas, and I knew I could get it to him about 10 days prior to. And I told him, I said, hey, I got 100 cases, and I'm calling 10 dealers. How many do you want? Because once it's gone, it's gone. And I'm not releasing it to anybody else. I'm not putting it on my website. I'll eventually put it out there, but this is for you guys, and I want to say thank you. And I sold 100 cases in less than 24 hours. And those stores got it, and it took off. And I had people calling me, sending me emails. Why isn't this on your website? I had dealers calling me. Why can't I get this? Why did you choose them? And it was like, these deals was like, look, man, I'm sorry, but I chose the 10 dealers that are buying an astronomical amount of product from me. And it's nothing against you. I want to, and it'll be ready for you come mid-January. But this is what I did for them as a Christmas present for them. And they understood, and they get it. And, those guys are buying more product now. So I mean, it worked. It worked and did what it needed to do. So, but I do have a new one coming out. It's fun. It's my version of an SPG. I have two versions of it. I have a coarse version, and then I have a very granule version. One is obviously what you'd use for brisket, beef. Jeremy puts it in beer. I mean, it can substitute as your salt and pepper. It's different. It has mushroom powder, true MSG. It's very addictive. It makes you come back, makes you want more. The other version of it is very fine, and it's completely different in taste. And it's really funny because being the same recipe, when you knock those down, how it different. So you taste it different. And that's when the whole science part of it kind of comes into play. And you let people try it, and they try the first one. They're like, oh, this is really good. They're like, okay, try this one. And they try, they're like, this is the same thing? And you're like, absolutely. And they're like, well, why is it? And then you explain the science side of it. They're just like, this is crazy. But the fine side is going to come in a smaller bottle. It'll probably be called, like, I'm thinking boom dust, something to that nature, because it's going to be more of a finishing dust that you're going to finish your briskets with. You're going to finish different stuff with. You can put it on anything. I put it in pasta water when I'm boiling noodles. It just, the aroma just from boiling water that it puts in your house is crazy. Yeah, I'm excited about them. I got a project with Cordy Meats coming out, just trying to finish labels. I got a line of sausages, which I'm really excited about. They're really good. You weren't over in our camp the day that we cooked them. I think you came over the day after, but all those guys got to try them. But the sweet, the OG's made with mozzarella. The spicy is made with pepper jack. And then the sweet garlic's made with Gouda. Cordy has literally hit it out the park, dude. It is unbelievable. And these will be able to be sold nationwide. Cordy will be selling them. I'll be selling them. No timetable yet. I'm hoping by end of January, but we'll kind of see how this plays out. I know we're already sitting here at January 11th. So we'll kind of go from there. But yeah, kind of some fun stuff coming out and for what we're doing. I don't know. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm about.
Yeah, they work. I think sweet garlic's one of my favorite. I use it I'll put about a third of a cup in I think it's an 8-ounce thing of sour cream, and that makes a phenomenal dip, either for a chip or carrots, vegetables, stuff like that. This is the soft grind. The bigger grind is in my desk at work. It's one of those things that salt, pepper, garlic you need on anything. That's one of my favorite jams when it comes down to it. This is the dust that's getting ready to come out, and those two are great. Like you said, put it in pasta, put them in a little bit of butter, sprinkle them on bread, potatoes, popcorn. A flip-flop, for God's sake. It'll make it taste good. It's one of those things. Just the line of rubs are good. I enjoy being able to. I've been a part of that process up front when before with the other business I was with, but kind of being on the backside. This is all his stuff. He'll give me some things, and I'm just kind of going back to he'll hand me a rib, and I'll try it and tell him what I think. It's pretty cool. My kids were like, "Hey, we were part of the best rub on the planet's development," because I don't know how many samples we had. I bring them home, be like, we like one, number two spot, giving their feedback. So it's fun to be able to be on that side of the coin with him and promote his business and being able to hand things out. And I'm just a passenger along the ride of this and that, but it's pretty cool to be able to help him out with that and help development. It's a fun part.
Yeah, I like it because you can tell when people know what they're talking about, or when somebody's just copying other folks when they know the specific details of the rub and what it does and how it changes when heat hit it and all that. And a lot of people just be out there just copying just to put their name on something, versus you could tell when people actually know what they're talking about. You can hear when he was explaining it. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to rub, and it is not as easy as people think, just slapping stuff together and putting your name on the bottle. But it takes a lot of, like you said, science. If you don't study and know about the science of different things, you never know what kind of reaction is going to happen, or the size of the particles in the bottle, or when some of these, the rubs I got on the shelf over there, where most of them hard to come out the holes and stuff because stuff is different sizes, so you get more of one ingredient than the other ingredient and all that stuff. But you can tell when somebody love what they do, put their all into it, and it shows by what you do and the results that comes from what you're doing.
Yeah, and kind of piggyback off what he said a minute ago is like he's not the one going, "Oh, I'm gonna do this, and this." It's people going, "Dude, when are you gonna put it out? When are you putting it out? When's this coming out?" Put in like peer pressure and the shit out of him just to get him to do it. It's like, "Come on, dude, get this out. Come on." I don't know, and it's easy for us to say that because it's not our pocketbook, it's not our financials.
Mhm.
But more people have been like, "Dude, come on, when's it coming?" Because he's just like that little dealer on the street corner. Hey, try this. You want a sample? Come here. Come over here. Hey, try this out. And people are like, "Hey, got any more of that garlic?" And he's like, "Oh, sorry, it's not out yet." And then so people just keep bugging him and saying, "Hey, hurry up." And it'll probably be the same thing with this. We'll be like, "Dude, come on, let's go, poke prod, let's go," and try to get them to do it. But versus, like you talk about, versus others that are just mass producing products to be back to producing products. And honestly, the last couple I know, just from visiting with them and talking with them over the years, it wasn't necessarily the upfront vision. It was just a thought, and sometimes your thoughts become afterthoughts and never move on. But sometimes your thoughts just come into fruition. I think that this is one of those things, and pretty good lineup, pretty good spot to stop and grow and develop. And even some of the greatest cooks in the world have one or two, have a rub, have a sauce, or have a couple rubs, and they call it good. You don't need to have 85, but there are certain parameters you need to have to be in different places. So some people know the business and they have to have so many SKUs, so many rubs to be in different box stores wherever they want to be and grow. But yeah, pretty cool how the process is developed.
And just to circle back, I mean, I couldn't have done any of this without a good co-packer. And I mean, I believe I'm with the best co-packer in the country, and that's Tastemaker Reed's Foods. That's who Malcolm Reed goes through. That's who Heath Riles goes through. Hey Girl Hey. I mean, there's a gamut of those guys, and I mean they're the bee's knees, I think, when it comes to it. And it's just easy to talk to them. It's easy to work with them. Yeah, no, it takes a good partnership when dealing with something like this, because they've taken my recipes and they've perfected it and they've made it better. I tell a story all the time about my OG, my sweet, and making it. And I never understood this, but getting ingredients here in Kansas City, I never knew how much those ingredients have been stepped on. And when I mean by stepped on, of how old they are, and is not as fresh as a co-packer, and a co-packer getting these ingredients in, and then that co-packer then selling those ingredients off to other co-packers, and those co-packers selling them off to other companies, and those companies selling them off to other small companies. And so by the time it gets to you or I, it could be a year or two down the road. There's nothing wrong with those sugars or salts, but they're old. They're no longer the freshest that they could be. And so when I first, sent my recipe in and they got the thing back to me, and I opened it up for the first time and I smelled it, I was like, whoa, this, I'm not sure. This doesn't smell like what it was, but I tasted it and I'm like, well, that tastes like it. And I remember getting on the phone and calling my dude saying, hey man, what's the deal? And he just laughed. He goes, you ain't never tasted your stuff fresh, huh? You ain't never smelled it fresh. And I was like, what do you mean? And then he explained this to me and I'm like, oh, wow, this makes total sense. And it's funny because, I have a lot of restaurants and food trucks that buy my OG in 25-pound cases that they use in the restaurants and for their everyday use. And I tell guys all the time, I go, be careful when you open this, because it's 25 pounds in a bag that comes in a box. And I said, be careful when you open it, because it's a pecan bomb. When you open this thing, everything's going to smell like pecan for a while. So don't do it unless you need to. And I mean, even when I do it in my house, because I'll take some of these 25-pound cases and I'll break them down into like 5-pound bags for some of my teams. My house will smell like pecan for a good 2 or 3 days. And I mean, it's not a bad flavor. I enjoy it. But if you're not used to it and you're not part of what we do, and you open one up in your house, it's going to be like, holy cow, what just came through here? Because it's fresh. It's different for what it is. So it's fun. It's a different world for what it is. Very blessed, very humbled at the same token. Glad that I have the people around me. Couldn't do it without the wife that I have, the friends that I have that keep pushing me, and just some of the mentors that don't have a problem answering their phone when I call. And that's huge, because, I have a lot of questions. A lot of times they're stupid. And a lot of times I should have been able to figure this out by now, but a lot of times they're just like, Josh, you're good. I get it. I've never understood why I got to carry so much insurance for a product that I don't make, that just has my name on it. But to get into big box stores, I got to carry millions of dollars worth of insurance. But at the end of the day, if somebody's going to sue somebody, they're not going to sue me. They're going to sue the co-packer. So why do I got to carry all this stuff? But it's just the liability purpose, because my name's on it. And it doesn't make any sense. But if you're going to play the game, you got to play the game. I wish there was more money to make in all this. And I understand why so many people bring out so many products so they can make more money in it. But it's a tough business. It's being a small business person isn't easy. It's a grind. It's tough. And you got to be able to continue pushing. And I'm not getting rich by any means, but it's a good time. It's opened a lot of doors. I made a lot of connections, and I'm very, very blessed to be able to call the friends and see and get to do the things I get to do.
So as far as you sponsoring teams, how did that criteria of people that you sponsor, what do you look for when you want to sponsor someone?
When it first kind of came about, it was really just the guys that were local to me when I was little. Like first coming out making the stuff out of the kitchen. It was the guys that were trying it and using it, so on and so forth. And then as it started getting more accolades to say, I got hit up more and more and more, and I really didn't know what to do. And to be honest with you, I will probably never do this again. But I mean, I put a thing out there that I'm accepting applications to be a brand ambassador, to do this, do that. And I got over 500 of them. And trying to go through this and trying not to piss people off, because you only want to sponsor, and I had told Jess, my wife, and Jeremy and a couple other people that I only wanted to sponsor 20 or 30 people. And I got it down to like 70, and I finally just threw my hands up and said, I'm done. You guys figure this out. Like, I don't know what else to do, because I mean, there's so many good teams and so many else, but you can't. But my sponsorship's a little bit different as a small business owner. There's only a couple teams that I give free product to. And I mean, those are guys that actually do a lot of business work with me and that do a lot of stuff on the outside that a lot of people don't see. Other than that, when it comes to that partnership, I'm giving them wholesale pricing. So they're getting that same pricing that those stores would get. And they can get as much as they want. I don't care if they sell it when they're out and they can make money off of it, so they can help them do what they need to do. I tell them, they need to be posting about it. I've never really had anybody sign any contracts. I've never been that diligent on it to say, but that's changing. And I've learned that over the past couple of years. And this year is going to be a little bit different. I'm definitely cutting some things down. I'm going to make it smaller.
You froze. Yeah.
We're doing good. We're doing good.
Shut up, Josh. Quit talking. The computer's like, meh. Enough of your voice. Yeah.
Are we good?
Yes.
All right. So what I was saying is I think this year is going to be a little bit different. I probably get 3 or 4 messages a day saying, hey, are you going to put something out? Are you going to do something? And I've told everybody, no, I'm not. I'm still kind of working through some things. I have a vision in mind. And I think by end of February, I'll be putting out, what I'm doing with the teams that I'm working with. And there's a couple of teams I'll be bringing on, but there's definitely going to be some teams that I'm letting go just because I think they're out there more for themselves than more for the brand to say. And which is fine, and I don't have any problems with that, and I'm not going anywhere, and it's not that I'm not going to be their friend, and I'm not going to be here to answer their questions or whatever the case might be, but there has to be an equal partnership. And when you're doing something like this, I mean, I'm trying to help you. I need you to help me. If that's not there, cool, but we just need to be on the same page for what we're trying to do. I'm an open book. If you guys need help on things, feel free to call, feel free to text. I mean, that's how Weeze and I became such good friends. And I mean, look at Weeze. I mean, Weeze has used me more from a knowledge standpoint, not so much to say is, how did you cook this, but how did you get in here? Do you know who that guy is? How did this conversation go? How did you direct this conversation? How would you answer this? Using me for that side of it to help him getting into certain places to do pop-ups, to do certain things, like more of a mentorship from that side of it. And I think when people look at sponsors, they look at them in the wrong way. They're looking for free goods. They're looking at it as free this, free that. And that's the wrong way. That's great that you might get some of that product, but look at the person that's helping you. People look at just me, but look at Jeremy too. Jeremy's helped me get to where I'm at. Jeremy's part of this cooking team and what we cook and what we do, and it's such a weird dynamic when it comes to those type of things. I really don't want those guys that are just out for the freebies anymore. It needs to be that equal part for where we're going. And if I lose some relationships because of this, then they really weren't the right relationship that I got into in the first place. And I mean, it is what it is.
I think
so I hope
like you also forgot to add on to that part of that process and that partnership with JDQ is the other aspects, the other things Josh sets them up with, discount codes to other companies, cheaper sponsorships or not cheaper deals with other things. And so, hey, do you want to be with this? I can give you this. I can give you that too. And not only just with JDQ, but other companies and build those connections and relationships with other people. So he does a really good job with that. And that's what it all comes down to. Sometimes, we have a handful of people that we focus on that are sponsors with us. One thing that people have said before, you look like, talk to other people, they look like they're a NASCAR team. What does NASCAR need? NASCAR needs to have those sponsorships to make things work. It's business, but you find out what works for you. You find out what's there. You can get in bed with the sponsor and realize it doesn't work, and this relationship isn't working for you or for them. Make sure it's working for you. Make sure it's there. Don't go and get a sponsorship just because you want to have that clout or you want to have that thing. Like right now, you can go over there and you can say, hey, my sponsorship is so-and-so flooring company. Okay. Are they financially giving you something? Are they doing something for you? Is there a discount code? Is there something that's benefiting you? How's that going to benefit your sponsors? How's that going to benefit them? How's that going to benefit the clientele that you have on your podcast and the people that are watching? So just make sure it works well for you. Don't just get it to get it. But it's my little 2 cents on sponsorships.
Yeah, it got to be a give and take. Simple as that.
Yeah, that's what, like I told you, I was looking to get into, and probably advertise space on the screen here and with a logo, or I started my website now, as well as just getting out there and fellowship with different people. But I'm gonna choose carefully, because at the end of the day, I mean, I want to know, let them know that I mean business, and I'm not just that desperate that I'm just taking anybody, but it has to be somebody meaningful and mainly I connect with and has a connection to me. So it has to be people that I really deal with and stuff like that, except unless ESPN or somebody else roll up, then I'm sell it out with the quickness.
Absolutely. I hope it happens, dude.
All right.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Back that truck up to the house.
We'll be your biggest fans, bro.
Then I'm grabbing everybody. I'm gonna have a Pat McAfee studio and just have a room full of barbecue people. Could I get that call? But like, hey, y'all come on. I appreciate y'all. That's all the questions I have. I'm gonna play a couple of games and get y'all out there, and we'll go from there. You know how in college basketball they have a tournament bracket. So I made a bracket of 16 meats that you cook on the grill. Just tell me which one you prefer to eat, and we'll see which one is the winner. All right. And first matchup is lamb versus brisket.
Brisket.
I'm going to go lamb.
Oh, wow.
Josh doesn't like brisket.
All right. Next matchup, ham versus sausage.
Sausage.
Okay. Next matchup, smoked turkey versus beef ribs.
Ooh.
Turkey.
Dang. That's like picking your firstborn or your secondborn child. Now, gosh.
All depends on who's cooking the
You're
turkey,
saying-
to be honest.
If I'm down in Texas, I'm taking those. I'm taking those.
Yes.
Beef ribs. I do love me a beef rib, but I do turkey. Got to go with the most consumed and more locally. I got to go with turkey on that one.
All right.
Gosh.
Next matchup, barbecue shrimp versus hamburger.
Hamburger.
I'm going to go with hamburger.
Okay. Next matchup, pork chop versus smoked chicken.
Pork chop. Pork chop.
I'm gonna go pork chop.
Okay. Next matchup, smoked bologna versus pork ribs.
Ribs.
Ooh. I'm gonna go ribs. I do like bologna though.
All right. Next matchup, hot dog versus pork belly.
Pork belly.
Pork belly.
It's a question. You like hot dogs?
I don't like hot dogs, and honestly, I don't think I really care for pork belly.
All right. Steak versus burnt ends.
Burnt ends.
Steak.
All right. Next round. All right. We got brisket versus sausage and lamb versus sausage.
Brisket.
I'm gonna go sausage.
All right. And you both pick turkey versus hamburger.
Turkey.
I gotta go hamburger. Hamburger's one of those. You're gonna eat it everywhere. You're gonna eat a nice little hamburger, and the hamburger might be one of my last. If I was my death row meals, I'd probably have a good hamburger.
All right. Next matchup is pork chop versus pork ribs.
Ribs.
Pork ribs.
All right. Pork belly versus steak. Pork belly versus burnt ends.
Burnt ends.
Burnt ends over pork belly. Steak over pork belly.
Okay, you get steak. Okay. All right. Final four. You got, see, Jeremy, you got brisket versus hamburger. And Josh, you got sausage versus turkey.
Turkey.
Brisket.
All right. Then you got pork ribs versus steak for Jeremy, and pork ribs versus burnt ends for Josh.
Pork ribs.
Steak.
All right. In the finals, you got brisket versus steak for Jeremy, and turkey versus pork ribs for Josh.
I'm going ribs.
You got to go ribs on that one. I'm going steak. Steak would be, yeah.
That was a hard one. I had to write twice.
You put some tough ones in there, buddy. Gonna make some mistakes.
All right.
Yeah, Josh, you lose.
We almost
I
done.
win. All right, you need my closing statement. It's like that ESPN show. He just got frozen and kicked off.
Oh no, I got one more quick one for y'all. All right. I made this special for y'all because y'all Kansas City Chiefs fans. Are y'all deep Kansas City Chiefs fans or just light Kansas City Chiefs fans?
Deep. We've been through the ups and downs, buddy. Been here. We're rooted.
All right.
Lifers.
Okay, so I made another bracket tournament of the top 16 Kansas City Chiefs players that I found, and I'm going to go through them and see who y'all think is the best. Matchup 1, Derek Thomas versus Alex Smith.
Derek Thomas.
DT.
All right. Christian Okoye versus Marcus Allen.
Oh, Okoye. He's an original. He's OG.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about him. All right, you got Will Smith versus Travis Kelce.
Oh,
man. I think
I'm going Travis.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Travis because he committed to Kansas City his whole entire life, and Will Smith was a traitor and went to those went to those Broncos. Even though he had one of the greatest sack celebrations of all times, and we love the Band-Aid on the nose, but Kelce.
All right, Jamal Charles versus Eric Berry.
Ooh,
that's tough.
That's two different sides of the. I'm gonna go Jamal.
Yeah,
Jamal Charles.
I'm gonna go Jamal as well.
All right, Tony Gonzalez versus Dante Hall.
The human joystick. Dante Hall changed so much, and he's
the joystick. Yeah,
he was unbelievable. You got to take him.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I used to hate him.
As you should.
That's what the Chiefs are lacking a lot now, and the NFL is too. I know the shortened kickoff has allowed. Hey, if there's 58 seconds left in the game, watch out. You can still score and get down there, but it's taken away that special team side of things. So.
All right, next matchup: Priest Holmes versus Tyreek Hill.
Oh,
I got to go Tyreek.
I got to go
just
Tyreek
because
as
of
well.
what he did for us. I'll take Priest home and his behaviors and attitude and demeanor, and his on the field. Priest Holmes on and off. Tyreek on the field.
All right, Patrick Mahomes versus 2 years of Joe Montana.
Oh,
Patty King.
Yeah, Joe can go.
All right, Tamba Hali or Derek Johnson.
I like DJ.
DJ for sure.
All right. Next round, Derek Thomas versus Christian Okoye.
DT.
Good one. All right. Travis Kelce versus Jamal Charles.
Travis.
All right. Dante Hall versus Tyreek Hill.
Ooh. I'm going to go Dante.
I'm going to go Hill. We got championships with him.
All right. Mahomes versus Derek Johnson.
Mahomes.
All right. Final four. Derek Thomas, Travis Kelce.
DT.
Where y'all said different?
DT.
Is it Kelce? All right. Dante Hall and Mahomes.
Mahomes.
All right. We got Derek Thomas versus Mahomes and Travis Kelce versus Mahomes.
Mahomes.
Yeah. Without Mahomes, you don't have Kelce.
Yeah. And
this is true. All right, Mahomes is the winner. All right, that's all I have. Thank y'all for doing a therapy session. Yeah. If y'all want to do shout outs or promote anything, y'all definitely can do that now.
I just appreciate sponsors from Garrison Plumbing, First Impression, Heath Riles, Smoking Brothers Gateway Drums, VAC, Victor Knox. Am I forgetting anybody, Jeremy?
Royal Oak.
Royal Oak, yes, absolutely, Royal Oak. Gosh, I can't believe that. But no, we appreciate you, man. It was great meeting you at the Royal. I hope we can catch up again. If there's anything that we can do for you or your podcast, you let us know. Like I said, we talked about, we'll be in Memphis, so don't be a stranger. Come by. Love to meet the family. Yeah.
Definitely.
Other than that, man, you need anything, you let us know, man. Holler at us.
But on that note, we'll see everybody next episode. I built something onto my podcast that every barbecue brand should be a part of. It's called the BBQ Therapy Smoke Showdown Bracket. 16 meats you cook on the grill go head to head, and every guest picks their winner. It's one of the most engaging parts of the show. Every guest plays, and every listener loves it because no two brackets are the same. Now I'm opening it up for a presenting sponsor, meaning your brand becomes part of the segment every single show. This isn't just an ad, this becomes part of the show. And if you're interested, reach out to Tavis Bryant at barbecuetherapypodcast@gmail.com. Thank you. Thank you for joining us for another therapy session. And remember, like, follow, and subscribe to help the barbecue therapy community. And also visit our website at www.barbecuetherapypodcast.com.